that it is the US that is now trying to bully other nations with regards to tariff. A 50% tariff is what India is now facing. Many nations across the globe, especially Asian nations, are coming in defense of India. Prime Minister Modi has already met governors in Tokyo.
क्या कि मैं अस्पताल में जाके खड़ी हो जाती हूँ कि दवाई दिखाओ कितनी है वो
Welcome to Japan.
My colleague Pranay Upadhyay is now joining me on the story. Pranay, what we are seeing now, bonhomie taking place between India and Japan. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the visuals that we can clearly see. Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with Shigeru Ishiba, who's the Prime Minister of Japan. Both of them travelled in the train, the famous bullet train of Japan. Grand welcome for Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Indeed, Aishwarya, these are the pictures, these are the visuals of the strength of India-Japan partnership, the strength of India-Japan ties, and the kind of time given by Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba with Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his Japan visit. One can see that how much he believes in India-Japan partnership, and also how Japan thinks that this partnership is paying its dividend in the way it is paying the fruits of this partnership. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Ishiba both have travelled in bullet train to Sendai. Sendai is a place where Shinkansen, the bullet train, the facility is there, and both India and Japan are looking at a joint venture in India for the joint production of Shinkansen products. And India is partner of Shinkansen bullet train project in India, because when Prime Minister Narendra Modi first visited Japan in 2014, at that point of time, when Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was there, both India and Japan laid the foundation of this partnership and initiated the India-Japan, the Shinkansen high-speed bullet train project between Ahmedabad and Mumbai. That project is progressing well. As per the latest update, the 8 stations have been turned into a modern station suited for the bullet train project, including the Ahmedabad, Surat, Vapi, Bilimora, Sabarmati. All these stations have been upgraded, and new stations have been constructed in these cities. Besides that, the elevated track of this high-speed rail corporation has also been laid in Maharashtra as well as in Gujarat. So that project is progressing. And besides that, both Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Ishiba, when they will be visiting the Shinkansen facility, the next phase of this partnership will also be rolled out. Besides that, Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Ishiba are also likely to visit our semiconductor facility there in Sendai. And semiconductor is another area of cooperation. We have seen yesterday that how India and Japan have resolved to take forward their partnership to new areas of critical and emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence. The digital partnership 2.0 has been agreed between India and Japan. Besides that, the high-speed technologies from space to maritime domain, various other sectors are also being explored and worked upon by both these countries. And these are the two powerhouses of Asian economy. If you see India and Japan, when they come together, as rightly being agreed and echoed by both the leaders jointly, that Japan's technology and India's talent can not only bear fruits and pay dividend to both the countries, but also can bring greater good for the global economy and to various other countries. And that's why India and Japan call their strategic partnership as a special strategic global partnership. So both these countries, India and Japan, are not only working on joint projects, but also working in third countries along with these projects, and that's why this visit is very important as far as the current situation is concerned, the current economic turmoil is concerned. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit is likely to yield, the economic partnership as well as many other projects which are likely to fructify in due course of time.
Right, Pranay, you rightly pointed out in due course of time, and that's exactly what India at the moment is looking at. We are now already seeing 50% tariffs coming in from the United States of America. For India, the priority is to safeguard Indian exporters and to open up new markets. Also to look at certain areas where India can be extremely self-reliant. So I believe those are also some of the conversations that we will see taking place in the bilateral meeting between India and Japan.
Absolutely, and if you see the agreements which were concluded yesterday, and also the vision document jointly being shared by Ministry of External Affairs as well as the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Japan, one can make out that how India and Government of India has agreed that how India and Japan can collaborate because the biggest threat about tariffs is about job losses, and see how Japan has stepped in to help India because this is a relationship of complementarity. This is a partnership where both get benefited out of stronger ties, because Japan is a country which has fantastic technology. They have a lead, a global progress of technology, while on the other side India is a human resource rich country, and both India and Japan have agreed that how Indian human resource or Indian talent can be repurposed as per the requirement of the Japanese industry, because Japan is demographically they are the average age is old in Japan, and they need they need talent, they need trained and skilled human resource, and that's why both countries have decided that in next few years,
Right.
Japan will be helping India and Indian talent to get repurposed, to get skilled, and then the same, youth will be employed in Japanese industries, especially in the STEM sector, the science, technology, electronics. And these are the sectors where Japan is looking at the Indian talent, and for that, a state-prefecture partnership has also been agreed. What does it mean? It means that the Indian states will be partnering with the Japanese state, and the education system, the training system will also be aligned so that the Indian youth can understand the Japanese market. They can prepare themselves. The Japanese language will be taught in many will be promoted and taught in many Indian cities and Indian states,
Right.
so that Indians can learn Japanese and they can work in Japan.
Pranay, please stay on with me. Let's listen into the heart-warming welcome that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has got in Japan.
Welcome to Japan. Thank you.
Welcome to Japan. Welcome to Japan.
My colleague Pranay is with me on the story. Pranay, a heartfelt, warm welcome given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In fact, we just heard Prime Minister Modi saying thank you, welcome to Japan. This is what the Japanese people have been telling Prime Minister Narendra Modi. All smiles. Also, this speaks about the warm relationship that India has had with Japan over the past many decades.
Absolutely, Aishwarya, India and Japan share a very warm relationship, people-to-people ties, cultural ties, and we have seen how the Ruma doll was presented to Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday, and that Ruma doll has historic there is a connection between the Ruma doll story and in India, because it is believed that it was based on a Kanchipuram, a Buddhist monk, which is very revered in Japan. And the people of Japan also understand that the complementarity which we are talking about, that how India and Japan can come together, it will be a beneficial partnership between both India and Japan. People in Japan also know that how Indians respect Japan. We've seen historically, even during our independence movement, we have seen how Subhash Chandra Bose got support. Raj Bihari Bose, many freedom fighters got support from Japan at that point of time in India's struggle against the British Empire. And even after that, when India and Japan came together for many projects, like the shining example is Delhi Metro. When India decided to go for a metro rail project, Japan was the first country that goes, and Japan gave us the technology, the engineering support, and now we have that widespread metro network in India. And that metro network is being taken to various other cities as well. So definitely, this is a partnership which has given fantastic results, and that's why India always go to Japan whenever we need space technology. And we have seen right from the Japanese car brands to Japanese Japanese technology in space sector. India and Japan will be collaborating for Chandrayaan 5 project. There are many sectors where India and Japan are collaborating. Over 1,000 Japanese companies are there in India. Over the course of years, Japan has pledged to invest $68 billion in Indian economy. And as Prime Minister Ishiba said, that Japan has already been contributing to India's Prime Minister Modi's Make in India vision. And Prime Minister Modi also said yesterday, after his talk with Prime Minister Ishiba, that we are inviting Japanese companies to not only contribute in Make in India, but make for the world. So, and we have seen that before, traveling to Japan, Prime Minister Modi was in Gujarat, and there, the Suzuki plant has rolled out e-Vitara, a car which will be exported to various other countries from India. So it's made in India, but made for the world. These are the projects where India and Japan are collaborating and working in the direction. But besides that, on the strategic aspect, if we talk, Aishwarya, India and Japan are planning, they have resolved to contribute and partner big time in the defense sector as well, not
Right.
in terms of the joint military exercise, but also in terms of joint research and joint production of defense equipment.
Thank you, Pranay, giving us all those details. We are seeing grand welcome for Prime Minister Modi in Japan. It's time now for the handshake that the world has its eyes on. Prime Minister Modi all set to visit China after 7 long years. This visit is with regards to the SCO, that is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. He'll be arriving at about 4 p.m. in China today. During this visit, Prime Minister Modi will also be holding bilateral conversations with the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping and the Russian President Vladimir Putin. This much-awaited meeting comes at a very crucial junction. We have seen how following agreements have taken place over both the nations, especially with regards to military disengagement along the LAC, that is the line of actual control. Now, the LAC has been a big flashpoint since 2020 Galwan clash. It's being said that there was a secret letter which was sent by the Chinese president to President Draupadi Murmu in March this year. And after that, it helped in making sure that the thaw between Delhi and Beijing, that somehow was stopped. Images that you're seeing on your screens coming in at the moment. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Japan. A very warm welcome given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Modi is on a 2-day visit to Japan. After this, he'll then be moving on to China. This is Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with the Japanese Prime Minister. What you are seeing is Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who travelled from Tokyo to Sendai. It's almost 400 kilometers. Now, this was a journey that was done by Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the Japanese Prime Minister. This journey from Tokyo to Sendai was done in the bullet train. Bilateral conversations took place between India and Japan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with the Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. The famous Japanese bullet train, that's what you are seeing. This is Sendai in Japan. The bonhomie very, very visible between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. In fact, the entire journey, 400 kilometers from Tokyo to Sendai, was done on the bullet train, the famous Japanese bullet train. India already has had an MOU signed. India is building the bullet train with the Japanese technology. In fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Shigeru Ishiba all set to visit a semiconductor facility also. Now, semiconductor is another area that we are seeing collaborations being done between India and Japan. My colleague Pranay Upadhyay is now joining me on the story. Pranay, very, very crucial meeting coming in. India at the moment is looking at making sure that they have diplomatic ties and improved diplomatic ties with other nations, given what the United States of America is doing. India and Japan historically have had very strong ties. In fact, this, this train journey, very, very significant between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Japanese Prime Minister.
Aishwarya, India has always advocated for a multipolarity of the world, and that's why, in our right to exercise our strategic autonomy and autonomy to fulfill our national interests and pursue our foreign policy. Any partnership of India, any effort to improve India's ties with any other country is not at the cost of any other country. It is not a reaction to what US is doing. We are engaging with the United States, but on the other side, Japan is important partner of India. It has always been a strategic partner of India since last 2.5 decades. We have seen how India-Japan partnership has grown. It has matured, and how India and Japan are partnering in various other domains now. But we have also seen that how India and Japan withstood many challenges and worked together to resolve those issues. So that is also a shining example. We have seen even take the example of the high-speed rail project, from land acquisition to the progress of this project. Yes, there have been delays, but there has been patience in Japan. How Japanese have worked out to resolve those issues, and how India has also fulfilled the pledge and the support we have extended to the Japanese engineers to fulfill our dream to have a bullet train project. That is a shining example that how two countries should work out and resolve their issues. What is happening in terms of the India-US relation? Yes, we are engaging with the United States at various levels, and there have been various voices coming from in the United States, because India still enjoys. There are a lot of friends of India in the United States, and they are also questioning the Trump administration, their decisions. But coming back to India-Japan ties, these are the areas and the sectors. You see the vision document rolled out by, after the meeting of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Ishiba yesterday. The number of MOUs concluded yesterday. The various sector-wise things, be it the employment sector, be it the human resource, repurposing or human resource training sector is concerned, be it the defense partnership, defense and security has also emerged as a very important pillar of India-Japan ties. We have shared values in terms of freedom, in terms of democracy, in terms of our conviction and our commitment for free and fair navigation. And though about all those things, India and Japan have always worked together, and that is a prime example that how India and Japan are, taking forward their partnership. And as I mentioned, that India-Japan ties has, if you see the spectrum of India-Japan partnership, their friendship, it is from high seas to the outer space. India and Japan are partnering for the Chandrayaan-5 mission. And also in the maritime domain, Japan is helping India to acquire the finest of technology, to develop the Indian industrial complex, and also recently, Japan has opened its defense sector. Japan has made some constitutional changes, and now Japan want to go big time in the defense sector. And Prime Minister Ishiba, yesterday he mentioned, Aishwarya, that he first visited India in 2003 when he was the chief of defense agency. And now the same guy is heading Japan and its government. And he said that defense is an important area where both India and Japan can come together. They can work together, joint projects, research projects, joint production, facilities. Have been agreed between India and Japan, and we have seen how Indian and Japanese, industries have worked together. Japan is a bit difficult market, you can say, because it requires patience and time to penetrate the Japanese market. But once you have access in Japanese market, Japanese always believe in long-standing relations, and that's why India is looking at greater penetration in the Japanese market. Yeah, we have a trade deficit with Japan. India want to abridge that trade deficit with Japan, and also India want to work on various projects with Japan in terms of critical and emerging technologies. AI is an important area where India and Japan have agreed to work together. Also, a digital partnership 2.0 has been, agreed in MOU signed yesterday after the delegation level talks between Prime Minister Ishiba and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So this visit of Prime Minister Modi as part of the big Asian outreach, this is also to show the world that how these Asian countries can partner together. On one side, with Japan, with China, India has tried to minimize the differences, and not to let the differences turn into dispute, and not to let the competition turn into conflict. So this is also an example that we resolve our issues. We know how to, minimize the differences and how to work together with our partners, and even with countries with whom we have differences. On the other side, this is also a subtle but a very strong message to United States and those in United States who think that India is a dead economy. Prime Minister Ishiba, because Japan is a long-standing partner and ally of United States, but Japanese Prime Minister, in presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he said that Indian economy is an economy of hope. Indian economy is an economy which is fast-growing economy. Many Japanese companies are investing in India, and that is an example for the world that how a world is showing confidence in Indian economy. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also, while he addressed the economic conference and addressed the industry captains, he said that Indian economy is fast galloping. Indian economy is a stable economy, and India has become a stronger country, and that is a place of future. That is a place for you to invest in.
Right. Thank you, Pranay, giving us all those details, putting things in perspective, and also highlighting how crucial India-Japan ties are. Images that you are seeing on your screens, Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Japan. In fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while he was speaking with the Indian diaspora, said Japan's technology and India's talent together can lead the tech revolution in this century. Prime Minister Narendra Modi having a conversation, this 400-kilometer drive, bullet train ride from Tokyo to Sendai was done between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Japanese Prime Minister. India is now hoping to purchase as well as sign MOUs related to defense, trade, technology and business partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the Japanese Prime Minister, both of them travelled from Tokyo to Sendai, roughly 400 kilometers. Now, from a grand ceremonial welcome to multi-dollar announcement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Japan visit is all about scaling up the India-Japan partnership. Investment, technology, green growth, they are at the heart of the talks that are taking place, and this is setting the stage for the new era in the bilateral ties. Now, this is a time when India is dealing with the tariff blow. We are telling you everything in this report.
A red carpet welcome in Tokyo. Greeted with the Gayatri Mantra and Vedic chants, Prime Minister Narendra Modi kicked off a high-impact visit to Japan. culture, technology and partnership. Prime Minister Modi's visit was packed with symbolism, strategy and big announcements. During his 2-day tour, Prime Minister Modi was presented with a Daruma doll by the chief priest of the Shorinzan Daruma temple. Daruma doll is a gift with an Indian link that once again signifies the civilization ties between the two nations. At the 15th India-Japan Annual Summit, Prime Minister Modi held talks with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba with a focus on trade, investment, defense and emerging technologies. At the MOU exchange, Prime Minister Modi unveiled an ambitious investment roadmap with $10 trillion in the pipeline.
हमने अगले 10 वर्षों में जापान से भारत में 10 ट्रिलियन येन निवेश का लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया है.
But the partnership goes far beyond numbers. India and Japan are now co-architects of the next innovation wave.
डिजिटल पार्टनरशिप 2.0 और AI कोऑपरेशन इनिशिएटिव लिया जा रहा है. सेमीकंडक्टर्स और रेयर अर्थ मिनरल्स हमारे एजेंडे में सबसे ऊपर रहेंगे.
From AI to semiconductors, the digital partnership is shaping the future. On the green front, both nations are strengthening their clean energy collaboration, laying the foundation for sustainable growth.
हमारा जॉइंट क्रेडिट मैकेनिज्म ऊर्जा के लिए एक बड़ी जीत है. It shows that our green partnership is as strong as our economic partnership.
In a heartfelt moment, Prime Minister Modi thanked Prime Minister Ishiba, saying this friendship rests not just on MOUs but on shared trust and long-term vision. A sentiment echoed warmly by the Japanese Prime Minister.
मैं प्रधानमंत्री इशिबा का उनके आत्मीयता भरे शब्दों और गर्मजोशी भरे स्वागत के लिए हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूं.
It is a great honor for me to stand here together with His Excellency Prime Minister Modi at such a moment. I wish to see our bilateral cooperation develop even further into the future.
Prime Minister Modi's visit also comes amid tensions in India-US trade ties under President Donald Trump's tariff policies. But in Tokyo, it is a different story. With billions in investment, tech at the core and green goals aligned, this visit marks a defining moment for India-Japan ties. Bureau Report, India Today.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping during his first visit to China in the last 7 years. Now, these talks come at a time when we are seeing the global economic turmoil and the tariff trump that is coming in. But to understand what's at stake, we must also look at India-China history. We have seen Wuhan, we have seen Galwan, and then the BRICS summit that took place. The relationship between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping has actually swung between that of utter bonhomie and then to utter breakdown. But can we see a reset of ties taking place between both the nations?
Two Asian giants meet again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping will hold talks in Tianjin on August 31st. This is Prime Minister Modi's first visit to China since the Galwan clash of 2020, which pushed bilateral ties to their lowest in decades. But this is not the first time the two leaders have sought to reset relations. In 2019, Xi Jinping traveled to the historic coastal town of Mamallapuram for the second India-China informal summit. Images of Modi and Xi visiting ancient monuments send strong optics of civilizational bonding. Just a year earlier, the two leaders had held their first informal summit in Wuhan. The Wuhan Consensus was built as a reset in ties, stressing that differences must not turn into disputes amid Doklam standoff tensions. Modi's first major visit to China came in 2015. The chemistry was on display. Modi became the first world leader to be received by Xi in his hometown Xi'an. Then came the Galwan clash in 2020, breaking the fragile trust. For 2 years, Modi and Xi had no substantive engagement. A brief handshake at the G20 summit in Bali in 2022 marked Prime Minister Modi's first public contact with Xi Jinping since Galwan. A year later in Johannesburg, another brief conversation on the sidelines of BRICS signaled the need for continued dialogue. Their last meeting came in October 2024 at the BRICS summit in Kazan, Russia. That meet helped push forward disengagement at friction point in Ladakh.
It's my great pleasure to meet you in Kazan.
From Mamallapuram's optics to Galwan's rupture, the Modi-Xi story swings between smiles and standoffs. All eyes now on Tianjin. Can this reset really hold? Bureau Report, India Today.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to China's Tianjin for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit, it isn't just another diplomatic stop. It's his first China trip in the last 7 years. The stakes are very high, and this actually could recalibrate Asia's power balance. From Galwan's shadow to global trade, this visit may actually redefine India-China dynamics. Take a look at this report.
Narendra Modi's upcoming trip to Tianjin for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit is far more than a ceremonial visit. It marks his first trip to China in 7 years, and it could well reshape the balance of power in Asia. Relations between India and China have always been a complex mix of cooperation and confrontation. The 2020 Galwan Valley clashes were a breaking point. Lives were lost, trust collapsed, and ties sank to their lowest in decades. But 5 years on, New Delhi and Beijing appear ready for what some are calling a strategic reset.
China was ripped up by Xi Jinping and his actions in 2020, which culminated in Galwan, where 20 brave Indian soldiers lost their lives, and several Chinese soldiers died as well. Now that was a red line, so to speak, between India-China relations, but things have moved on since then. The relationship is not as adversarial as it used to be in 2020. It looked like India and China were going to go to war, but now that seems to have abated. A better sense seems to have prevailed in Beijing, and what we've been seeing over the last couple of months, beginning with the summit in Kazan, was a warming, a thawing of ties between India and China. There was a certain outreach made by China, and India seems to have reciprocated.
At the heart of this lies India's foreign policy evolution. Gone are the days of Cold War non-alignment. What we see today is multi-alignment, a deliberate strategy to engage all major powers while preserving strategic autonomy. India is not choosing sides, it is choosing options.
आप अगर पुराने रिकॉर्ड देखेंगे, सदियों तक चीन और भारत एक दूसरे से सीखते रहे हैं और दोनों मिलकर के दुनिया की भलाई के लिए कोई न कोई कंट्रीब्यूट करते रहे। ग्लोबल पुराने जो रिकॉर्ड्स हैं कहते हैं कि दुनिया का जो जीडीपी का था, उसका 50% से ज्यादा अकेले भारत और चीन का हुआ करता था। इतना बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन।
Economics is a big driver here. Despite tensions, China remains India's second largest trading partner. Yes, the trade deficit bothers New Delhi, but the reality is India's manufacturing ambitions still depend on Chinese components and raw materials. Put simply, India cannot industrialize at scale without some level of cooperation with Beijing. Security is another key layer. The SCO, once focused on fighting terrorism, has now grown into a platform that offers an alternative to Western-led institutions.
The SCO was established with the primary goal of countering three evils of terrorism, separatism, and extremism, which continue to remain a challenge. Today, as a regional platform, there is a broader range of sectors of cooperation among the SCO members.
For India, active participation ensures its voice is heard in multiple forums without getting trapped in one-sided alliances. Border management is perhaps the most immediate concern. The revival of the long-dormant Special Representatives framework is a breakthrough. Both sides are exploring early harvest solutions, resolving simpler segments of the contested border first, leaving harder disputes for later. It's pragmatic, if not ambitious. Then there's the American angle. Washington's tariff war, particularly under Donald Trump, has rattled New Delhi. India still values its partnership with the US but doesn't want to appear overly dependent. Engaging China helps India widen its options and sends a clear signal. India will not be boxed in.
साथ होना ना सिर्फ बेनिफिशियल है बल्कि ग्लोबल स्टेबिलिटी और प्रॉस्पेरिटी के लिए भी जरूरी है। और जब 21वीं सदी एशिया की सदी है तो हम तो चाहेंगे कि भारत चीन के बीच में स्पर्धा सब स्वाभाविक है। स्पर्धा कोई गलत चीज नहीं है, ये संघर्ष नहीं होना चाहिए।
But let's be clear, this is not a love story. Beijing's tight embrace of Pakistan and its growing naval footprint across the Indian Ocean remain red flags for India. Old suspicions cannot be wished away. Still, the ripple effects of Modi's China gambit could be significant. A revived Russia-India-China trilateral, dormant for over a decade, may re-emerge as all three grapple with Western pressure. That would be a big shift in global power politics.
I mean, these are two countries who are neighbors. They lost trust over Galwan and other issues. It is time for these two civilization states realize that neither one of them are going anywhere, that there has to be resolution to the issues in there. Trust has to be built slowly based on actions, not words. But you have to start somewhere. And while you can have suspicions about anybody, you can point to this and that, the issue is, what is the future? Want a future under the United States where, whoever is in power is going to dictate what you do. And if you fight back, you're involved in an asymmetrical conflict, which is very difficult to win. Or do you want to be a proud nation that determines its own future in a multipolar world where consensus, right, and cooperation are the main key elements?
In truth, Modi's Tianjin visit is not about resolving every dispute. It is about creating space. For China, easing tensions with India blunts America's containment efforts. For India, engaging China while staying close to the West is multi-alignment in action. The world is moving towards multipolarity. Whether China and India can compartmentalize their rivalries while cooperating on shared interests will determine not just Asia's stability, but the very architecture of the global order. And that is why Tianjin matters. With Farhan Khan, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
On that note, it's a wrap on this bulletin. Thank you for watching India Today. For more news and updates, you can log on to indiatoday.in. You can even download the app. This is me, Ashwara Pariwal, signing off.
You are watching India Today.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
मंगलदीप, दिल से करो बात भगवान के साथ।
मंगलदीप धूप कोन्स 2 गुनी खुशबू के साथ दे पूजा का बेहतर अनुभव।
How is he always winning?
Gotta have some spin, never bending, dripping in, like so clean.
Moto G96 5G.
Eyes on you. Hello, Moto.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. PM Modi says, India-Japan partnership vital for world peace. India's GDP growth accelerates to 7.8% in first quarter of the financial year 2025-26. Thailand court removes PM over leaked phone call with Cambodian leader.
longest-standing biannual survey, India Today Mood of the Nation. How many seats for BJP elections were held today? How do you rate Operation Sindoor? How is the opposition performing? Who is India's best Chief Minister? Who should be the next Prime Minister? India Today Mood of the Nation has the answers. Don't miss out. 500 rupees off on all digital and print plus digital plans.
watching India Today.
Hello, you're watching India Today and I'm Aishwarya Paliwal. Let's start the show with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with the Japanese Prime Minister on board the bullet train on the way to Sendai. Leaders meet Indian train drivers currently training in the East Japan Railway Company. A grand welcome for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets and greets Indians.
Thank you.
Prime Minister Modi all set to visit China after 7 long years for the SCO summit. Prime Minister Modi will be holding a bilateral conversation with the Chinese Premier, will also be meeting the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Amid the global tariff war, Russian President Vladimir Putin all set to visit India in December. A statement coming in from Kremlin says Putin will be holding a bilateral conversation with PM Modi. TMC MP Mahua Moitra lands in soup once again. Brazenly says Home Minister Amit Shah must be beheaded and his severed head should be placed on the table for display. BJP says these remarks are disgusting and disgraceful. Leader of the opposition in Lok Sabha and Congress MP Rahul Gandhi accused by the BJP of disrespecting Prime Minister during a rally in the state of Bihar. Home Minister Amit Shah says this is politics at its lowest and is now demanding that Rahul Gandhi must apologize. Big blow to Trump's tariff war. US appeals court says most of the tariffs levied by Donald Trump are illegal. Rattled Trump Sarkar says they are all set to appeal and also say all the tariffs will remain in place. The top story that we are following here on India Today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with the Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, they have reached Sendai. Those are the images that are coming in at the moment. Prime Minister Narendra Modi travelled on the famous bullet train with the Japanese Prime Minister. Images that you are seeing on your screens are of the grand welcome that was done by the Japanese for Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Sendai. My colleague Shivani Sharma is now joining me on the story. Shivani, when we are looking at these meetings that are taking place, the way in which the Japanese have welcomed Prime Minister Narendra Modi, signalling good ties and good days to come both for Japan as well as for India. Historically also, Japan and India have had very good relationships.
Certainly, Aishwarya, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Japan, and especially in reference to what's happening with the United States and the geopolitical happenings that are going on, it's very, very significant. Especially today, this journey on this high-speed bullet train is very important and significant. It is showing that how India is collaborating with Japan in terms of technology, in translating the technology, the AI, the workforce in Japan and bringing it home to India so that India can also prosper with this collaboration, and also showing and giving out a message, a very strong one, that India is not going to come under any kind of pressure from the United States when it comes to the tariffs. It is collaborating with its global partners. Japan is one of them, and holding these and strengthening these ties, not only in terms of security cooperation, because there was a declaration that was signed yesterday in which there is a number of points on which India and Japan are going to work together in terms of security, in terms of economy, in terms of holding more tri-services exercises, in terms of having more maritime cooperation and exercises. And today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the Prime Minister of Japan, is traveling on this high-speed bullet train. This means that they are not only working together to bring this technology to India in collaboration with Japan, but also bringing a lot of economic investment. The investment from Japan is being aimed to get doubled in the coming years. So that's the focus of this particular visit. In all directions, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is holding bilateral ties. He's met the 16 governors today before his journey to Sendai on this high-speed train. So a lot of bilateral ties out there, a lot of work going on with Japan in terms of technology, economy, security. And now this significant strengthened the people-to-people ties between.
We'll try and reconnect with my colleague Shivani there. The images that you're seeing on your screens are of the grand welcome that was given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had travelled 400 kilometers in the famous bullet train with the Japanese Prime Minister. My colleague Shivani Sharma back with us. Shivani, we have seen how this is a very crucial relationship between India and Japan, and we are also seeing the regrouping of sorts, the coming together of sorts of the Asian nations, given the fact that Donald Trump is saying that all the tariffs will be levied.
Aishwarya, see, Japan is one of the partners of Quad, which is with India, Japan, Australia and United States. And when United States is levying a lot of tariffs on India, India is pursuing its strong ties with Japan, other nations also of the Quad. And it's working to enhance its ties not only in this Quad formation, but also outside this Quad formation. India and Japan, they are sharing strong ties, and this annual summit is about strengthening these ties. This has been the first meeting of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the PM, the present Prime Minister of Japan. But the ties are quite old, and every year this kind of a summit is reviving these ties, and what more can be done by both the nation in terms of security, in terms of economy. And right now, this year, when we are speaking about this particular summit, it's all the more important because there is a very strong signaling from Japan also that India is a strong partner. India is a partner with which Japan wants to do a lot of business in AI, in economy, in tourism, in the technology which is related to these bullet trains. So developing these ties in the Quad and outside the Quad is also very important. And in these times when United States is putting a lot of pressure with those 50 plus 25% penalty of the tariffs, so India is not only working with its partners like Japan, but also with Russia and a lot of other countries with which India shares an all-weather partnership.
Thank you, Shivani, giving us all those details, also putting things in perspective. We are now seeing a new bonhomie taking place between the Asian nations. Indian Prime Minister travelled 400 kilometers in the famous bullet train with the Japanese Prime Minister. News that's coming in from the state of Bihar now. Today is the last leg of the Voter Adhikar Yatra. Akhilesh Yadav has joined Rahul Gandhi and Tejasvi Yadav. Show of strength being done by the opposition in Bihar's Siwan region. Akhilesh Yadav has attacked BJP with regards to the Voter Adhikar rally. BJP wants to rob voters of their right. BJP wants to rob votes. That's what they are now looking at doing. This is a big statement coming in from Akhilesh Yadav, who said BJP wants to rob votes.